You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast with your host, Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
Yes, you are here in the flesh, all dolled up with blue jeans on down at the bottom. So I saw your picture on Instagram. I was like, she dresses up from the waist up and dresses down from the waist down.
Yes, usually.
Nothing wrong with that. Hey, it's an overwhelming decision to know what to wear on the One Step Deeper podcast. Unless your name's Jimmy Moore and then you just wear a short and t-shirt and you're always ready.
Exactly.
See, I know in this co-host relationship, I have the easy job. I got nothing I have to do with the hair. All right, I'm ready. Maybe shave. Shave is the biggest thing I do. And I did shave today, so it looks nice. The lines are good. But throw on a t-shirt. I got my shorts on. I could be wearing nothing down low, but I do. I wear shorts and t-shirt, so I know that.
Most days I am definitely one of the Zoom meeting people that I just have on a nice shirt and I have on workout pants. But today I felt like putting on some jeans. So if y'all see me unbutton my jeans halfway through, y'all just mind your business.
What was funny was during the pandemic, like all the news anchors and people and they stand up and it's like, oh.
Tony! Can you hear us? Tony! Oh no.
They'd have like a suit on from the waist up, but then shorts on, boxers on at the bottom.
We all do it and don't lie and say you don't. So
yes,
it'll work out.
But it's too many overwhelming decisions. It just leads us to becoming paralyzed through all the decisions we have to make.
Yep.
So here in episode 62, that's what we're talking about today, you guys. Having difficult decisions that are overwhelming, it can lead to paralysis by over-analysis. But we were talking before we got on the air, it's not just the big ones. It's also the little ones. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website. Go check us out over there. It is the go-to place for this podcast. You can see all the past episodes in video form. You can also listen to them there as well. Then on Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern, that's when all the fun begins with OSD. We do debut these on YouTube at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Just type in One Step Deeper as a keyword search. It's under my name on YouTube, so Living Low Carb Man. But if you just do One Step Deeper, we're like the only show called One Step Deeper, thank God. So you can find all of our shows there, you guys. It also simulcasts exact same time, 4 p.m. Eastern on Sundays over on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Mondays, it is a traditional podcast. Go check us out. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Alexa, all the different ways that you can check us out if you'd like to listen. Although you should look. I mean, Brittany, you never know how Brittany's going to dress. Jimmy is always the same. But Brittany always has some new outfit on. It's cool. And that brooch, I like that brooch that you wear, the long brooch. That's cool.
It's my essential oils.
Ah, what's in there today?
Eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus. I like peppermint when I have it close to me like that. Except it does start to work on your eyes. Does eucalyptus mess with your eyes, like make them burn or anything?
Eucalyptus is really good for processing grief, and so it's kind of been my top oil of diffusing lately.
Yes, you go, girl. So while you're at Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, or if you're on Spotify, leave us a star review. We definitely appreciate all those. And as of the recording of this, we don't have any updates on the book, but the book is still coming. Hopefully by the time this one airs, it's so close, guys. We had one last snafu that if I told you what it was, you would laugh. Brittany just rolled her eyes at me when I told her. But we are so close, guys. I promise. As soon as we know, you'll know. All right, so let's get into today's show. Overwhelming decisions. We all have them in our lives. I mean, but we have regular decisions in our lives as well that we can make overwhelming. Maybe they're not overwhelming, but we make them seem that way. And so what happens? Well, I should do this, but no, I should do that. And what happens? Nothing happens. It's paralysis by overanalysis. And so I guess let's start with, why do we do that? What's up with that?
I was thinking about this as I was writing, scrambling this morning. I was a little running behind. I was thinking about this, that so much goes into that play of why we freeze. And I know we can't really get through a One Step Deeper podcast episode without mentioning childhood. And I really think some of this starts there, that in childhood, we're frozen with fear when we have parents who are traumatizing. They instill this fear in us. And so we're afraid to make any decision, small, big, huge, anything. We're afraid to make a decision because it might be the wrong one. And there might be a punishment for it being wrong. And even if you're an adult and you've made it out of this, punishment, there's still this internal fear that goes on that, oh, if I make the wrong decision, what's going to happen?
Yeah, the whole what if scenario in people's minds so paralyzes them. And I can tell you, I have been that way in the past. And it does. It's a miserable place. And I know lots of friends in my life that every time it comes to making, again, not just big decisions, but any decision at all, it's always this big struggle, this big stress. Yeah. And it's like, you allow that to happen. You allow yourself to become all consuming. And I don't know what happened for me, but I just became very decisive. It's like, I'm going to choose a side. Yeah. If it's wrong, so be it, but I'm going to choose. And like when I decided to make the jump to go full time with what I do, circa 17, 18 years ago, that was hard. And it would have been very easy for me to, that's a big decision, leaving a job, going full time with what I do. It would have been easy for me to just say, well, this is just too much to analyze. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I would still be at that crappy job that I hated. I was good at it, but I hated it. Yeah. And I wouldn't have had any of the success that I've had. And that's the thing, that maybe that's the way you convince people of this is, all right, yes, it's a hard decision. And yes, you're kind of stuck in this analyzing it to the point of paralyzing yourself. But here's the possibilities. Yes, you could crash and burn and everything's up in smoke. All right, if that's the worst that can happen, what's the best that can happen? Whoa, 3-time international best-selling author, invited to speak worldwide, those kinds of things. So you've got this dichotomy, and yet we always go to this one, don't we? We always go to whatever that worst one is, not even giving any thought to the unexpected. I didn't expect I would ever become best-selling author, successful podcaster, speaker around the world, but I had to take that step and stop over-analyzing to get there. That big decision was the best decision, one of the best decisions I ever made.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad that you weren't paralyzed and you jumped and you made that decision. I think that's great. But going back to why do we always catastrophize things? It's survival. It's survival in our brain to always think of the worst possible outcome so that we're prepared. And it's like it's not that complicated, other than we are human beings, and as humans we're constantly searching out for danger, because even though we face far less danger in today's world than we did many hundreds of years ago, it's still true that thing inside of us is just always searching for danger. And so if we make the wrong decision, that's dangerous, and so we always kind of go to that catastrophizing side. And listen, guys, I'm sitting here talking to you about this, and I'm the exact opposite of Jimmy, and I've done better in recent years and going through all this personal development where I can make decisions, but I paralyze myself with indecision a lot about the very basics of things. Matter of fact, last night it happened. I had gotten super hungry, and so I was emotionally heightened because I'm super hungry, and I'm just, like you know what you get like when you're really hungry. You're just kind of hangry. Yeah. And so I had gotten to that point and I couldn't make a decision. I had convinced myself that I couldn't make a decision about what it was that I wanted to eat because I was so hungry. All of my emotions and everything clouding around me wouldn't let me make a decision, except I was putting that on myself. I was paralyzing myself by not making a decision.
And ironically, continuing the problem that began. So you went into it hungry, but because you were overanalyzing this decision, and I wouldn't even call that a big decision. So to your point that we had before we came here, even the little decisions, little decision, there's food available. There's people around the world that don't have even any food available. They would eat.
You are right.
Fix something, shit or get off the pot is what my brother used to always say.
100%. And Wild Man looked at me last night and he's like, this is going to be really hard for me, but I'm going to give you the tough love that you say I never give you. Okay. Yeah. Just go freaking eat. It's not that complicated. And I was like, fine.
Jimmy would have said the exact same thing. I think I have in the past because we've been on the phone and you're like, I wonder if I get this or I get that or I get this or I get that. I'm like, this one, just go eat this one. Good. You're done.
Yeah. And I will obsess about those little decisions far more than I will about the big decisions. I think it's because I have taught myself, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, acting out of your core values. Once you have those set core values, it's easier to make a decision out of your core values, out of your authentic self. And so the very big decisions, I might grapple a little bit, but I always just filter them through, okay, is this kindness to self or others? Is this compassion to self or others? Is this respect to self or others? And I can ask those very few questions real fast and then make a quick decision about bigger things, except for the little things seem to still stress me out a little bit. But I'm working on it. Hey, it's all about working on that and processing and getting better.
Yeah, and you are way better than when I first met you, so that's great. One thing that comes up though, especially like in relationships, for people that don't like to get overwhelmed, don't like to have these decisions to make, they abdicate their role in the decision, so there is no overanalysis paralysis that takes place, but then the partner makes a decision and something goes awry with said decision. What happens? That person that refused to be a part of the decision then starts chastising that other person and saying, well, what a horrible decision. And it's like, don't let me say what I'm about to say, because you could have been a part of this and given me input. Well, I trusted you. And I mean, there's a lot of gaslighting that happens in that kind of instance. So this is another part of this conversation we need to talk about, that people get so overwhelmed and they don't want to make the decision that they abdicate it to someone else. And then when someone else does make a decision and it doesn't turn out great, oh, look at you, and they point the finger.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up. I have done that where I've abdicated and just looked at Chris and go, listen, I need you to make this decision because I cannot. But if he makes a decision, I abdicated my right, my throne, my whatever, to have an opinion about his decision.
Yes.
Because I abdicated that to him. If I say, hey, this is your decision, then it becomes all that's it. I don't get an opinion. Poof. But yeah, I think the people, it becomes, again, a survival tactic for them that, okay, I don't want to make a decision because I don't want to be wrong. And so I'm going to let other people make the decision. But then, like you said, they want to get into it and be like, oh, well, that was the wrong decision. Okay, if you want to say that, if you want to say it's the wrong decision, then I'm going to need you to I'm going to need you to be in the process of making the decision. But yeah, that's a good point. We all know those people too that have something to say when they weren't involved in the decision-making process. Yeah.
I hated it within relationships that I've had and friendships and different things. It's like, oh, you make the decision. And then I do, because I'm very resolute when I make a decision. I'm confident AF thinking, hey, this is going to be right. And then that didn't turn out so well. And not every decision. But then when things do turn out right, they're not like, thank you. They're just like, oh, okay, that's what was supposed to happen. So It's lose-lose for the decision makers of the world.
Yeah, and I would say for me, it's more of like, I catastrophize and think of the worst possible things, and my dad's even said things like this, that this is what he does. It's just like, if I think of the worst possible outcome, then anything better than the worst is good. And so
Your dad.
oh goodness.
But I want to bring a real life example with you and me with this. So this podcast was you kicking and screaming with indecision about, I'm not qualified. I don't have letters after my name. What letters do I have after my name? None, but you're Jimmy. I'm like, but how did I become Jimmy?
Right.
Oh. And then you realized you could do this and you didn't need that. And so you were paralyzed because you wanted to do a podcast. And we talked about this before on previous episodes, but you wanted to do a podcast long before you debuted with One Step Deeper. And what held you back was?
Indecision.
Yeah. Indecision about topic, indecision about qualification, indecision about whether you'd be able to carry it and handle it and all the things. And it took your best friend who has a shitload of experience to say, I see the value in you. We're going to do a podcast. Let's go. And even then, it took 3 more months before we recorded the first episode. And it took a lot of cajoling. But now look at you. We're rolling now. A year and a half later, you're a very established podcaster now.
Yeah, I mean, and we did that with the book. I love what we were talking about right before we got on, that we both reacted in different ways of that paralysis at different portions of the book. And so, and maybe this has to do with our personalities, but like when we first, like I couldn't even get started. Like I struggled with even starting anything because of like all of the decisions and the, how do I do this and what do I, like all things. And it has to be perfect. If it's not perfect on the first try, then I'm a failure. And maybe that's a little bit of my Enneagram. And you were talking about how now that the book is out, or like it's about here, it's like, oh, is this going to be successful? Is this going to, or I don't remember how you worded it. Or
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned because I have very high standard for books.
Right.
So my other books have done really well. Is this one going to do well? So that's my anxiety. Will it? No, and I'm kind of paralyzed.
And it's not that you're paralyzed in this decision, but this paralysis that's being caused by this constant loop in your brain of, is this book going to be successful? It seeps into other decisions that you're making. And because you're overwhelmed in one area, even though this other decision over here might not have anything to do with this, you're already overwhelmed in a decision, that this decision over here becomes just too much to handle. You can't even look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is so applicable in so many ways. And I was even asking you, because I know you've done a lot of work looking at Enneagram. Which episode was it? Six. Mm-hmm. That we went over all the different Enneagram types. You know, because you're an Enneagram 1 that tends to be more of kind of the perfectionist and all that. So perfectionist tendencies, and you still battle that. You're way better than you used to be, but you still battle that. And so part of your paralysis by overanalysis is the book. It's not perfect yet. I can't release it till it's perfect. And I consult a lot of people on writing books, and this is the biggest thing. I don't feel like it. So many new things are coming out. I'm like, look, the whole rest of time is going to happen. It's going to be this book here. There's stuff that's happened since Cholesterol Clarity came out.
Yeah.
I can't go back and retroactively throw it into the book. This was as of 2013 when I wrote it, and when it came out, this was the information that was available. It's still very good information, but there's some newer stuff that's come along. And so waiting until it's fully ready, it's never going to be fully ready. It's why people don't start anything. I think a lot of people leave their passion for doing something great on the table every single day.
Yeah.
Because of this very topic we're talking about here today, of they look at the big decision of hey, I want to leave my job and go full time working for myself, to pursue this dream, pursue that dream. And the thing that keeps them from actually doing that is this issue right here. They just go back and forth, and then they realize, oh, I'm just going to stay where I'm comfortable, which is where they are, where they're unhappy. happens in relationships. There's people who stay in relationships for this very reason, and they kind of analyze all the different, well, if I do this and then this and then this will happen, and then like your dad, oh my God, this will definitely happen. But if it's better than that, then it'll be good. And it's just like, so many people could be so much more decisive, and that would change everything. Look at how the world would be different if everybody chased after the dreams of their heart and did the things that they really knew they wanted and needed to do, but stopped being afraid to do them.
Oh, man. You know, you guys know I have a family member story for pretty much anything we ever talk about because I have unlimited amounts.
Family members, so yes.
Yes. The other day I was literally sent Jimmy a picture of the start of my family tree. It was just my grandparents who, you know, some of them have gone on, but like at one time I had 18 grandparents, all alive and well, and I communicated with them all. You guys think I'm joking, but I am definitely not. It's I have a family story for everything. I have a really great family member who has this big, huge dream, and I'm so proud of them for all the work that they have done and that they have put into it, but they're frozen because they're afraid that they've done all this work and put in all this time, and if they go live with it, that it's going to crash and burn. And so because they're afraid that it's going to crash and burn, they never put themselves out there. And so how incredible this person is at their craft, at what they do, nobody knows about it because they don't put it out there. And I understand, but I've had this conversation with this person so many times of, you will never know until you put it out there. I'm speaking from experience. I am scared to death for the world to get a hold of my book. I am so scared to death. I really am. On the one side. And then on the other side, I'm freaking proud of myself because I stopped being frozen in paralysis and not doing anything and just having a dream in my brain. Like it came into fruition. It's happening. It's here. And I did that, and I get to be proud of that. But in the truth, like, analysis paralysis is just a form of procrastination. It's convincing yourself that something is going to go wrong. It's convincing yourself that, well, I can't start because I haven't thought about it enough, or I haven't researched it enough, or I haven't figured it out, or you pause yourself and you can't even get started because your brain is going a million miles an hour trying to analyze all the different things. And sometimes you just need to be like my favorite TV show. I wanted to bring this up. I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry. Hogging the mic here. There's an episode of Friends where Phoebe is trying to help her friends make a decision because he's stuck in indecision. He's like, I don't know if I should go this route or if I should go this route. And she's like, okay, cool. Let's do this game. And she's like, flora or fauna. And he picked something, and then he's like, he said Rachel or Monica, and he says Rachel.
I know a way that you can decide. All right, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you answer as quickly as you can.
Yes.
Good, but wait. Okay. All right, here we go. Now I want you to relax, take a deep breath, clear your mind. Which do you like better, peanut butter or egg whites?
Peanut butter.
Which would you rather be, a fireman or a swimmer?
A swimmer.
Who would you rather sleep with, Monica or Rachel?
Monica. Oh. What? I always thought it'd be Rachel.
No thinking. Ty or Ascot?
Ascot.
North route or south route?
North route.
Bam, there you go. Huh?
Wow. That was incredible. Beer to bees, here I come.
She tricked his brain and said a couple of these fast, easy decisions, and then put the decision he was trying to figure out at the end of it, and he made it just like that because it was boom, 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 boom. We're just making decisions. And so sometimes when it comes to analysis paralysis, stop analyzing. Stop. Just move. Just move your body. Make a choice. Do it.
Look, let me defend the analysis for a moment. Analyzing is smart. Analyzing is wise. I do it every single day in my own business. All right, well, if I do this, then this will happen. And okay, great. And it's just this simple kind of thinking things through. What happens, though, is people go, well, this, and then this. Oh, but this, and then this, it becomes a rap song. This. And at some point, you have to just kind of go to the lowest hanging fruit and make your decision from there. Because let's go to nutrition. Look at all the choices you have available about how you feed yourself. It's overwhelming. And even within a niche, let's just pick keto since that's my world. Even in keto, there's like high protein keto, high fat keto, exogenous ketones with your food keto. And there's so many things. How much MCT oil do you need? How much green drink do you need? And it's just all these little moving parts that I can see someone coming into this world and going, that's too much. I can't do it. And so they will make no decision because of it. It's not the decision that's big. It's the analysis of all the nonsense that's big. And what I tell people, the way I help them is go back to the basics. Get you a book that tells you like all the little basics of how to do it and just start there.
Yeah.
And this is where I think a lot of the paralysis analysis comes into play is people don't even go to like the basic. Just start with the basic information and let that predicate your decisions. It's where we go basic, but I heard this and I heard that and I heard all these things and we pile it on top of the basic. Then it becomes a mound of impossibility. So keep it simple, stupid, the whole KISS concept. It's a thing because it's real. It really will streamline a lot of the decisions you have to make so you don't become paralyzed.
Yes, I think another reason why people get paralyzed along that same reason, and what you were saying is the opinions of others. And so you might make a decision, but then change your mind because somebody puts their information in. You know,
Yes.
I have a person on Instagram. I was just speaking with them, and I felt so bad for her. She literally won't tell the world what name she's choosing for her baby, which is totally her business. I don't care. Like, good for her. But she's doing it because she doesn't want to hear the opinions of her mother who had something to say about her other two children's names. And it's rude. It's rude. But I understand. She's like, I don't even want to bother, so I'm not even going to tell anybody. But the bad thing is, even waiting till the day of when she announces the name, the mom will still have something to say. Let's be honest. Because people like that, people like Karens. I'm not saying her mom's a Karen. I don't know her mom. But like, they just put their opinions in. And that becomes overwhelming too. Because now, even though you didn't ask for it, somebody's now put their opinion in, and we get online and you're bombarded with opinions. Oh, you should breastfeed, not formula feed. You should put your kids in private school, not public school. You should gentle parent or parent this way or don't do that. You're bombarded by all these judgments of making decisions.
Here's how you should be parenting your kids, and here's how you shouldn't be. That was close to home, right? I'm gonna leave it alone. I know it's a sore spot. So.
Oh man, yes, exactly. And that all goes back to stop shoulding yourself. Other people stop shoulding. Just keep your should to yourself, okay? Don't nobody care.
And look, you bring up a great point of a part of the over-analysis is there are many voices that you allow in. So the way you prevent that, when you have big decisions, keep your core small. When I have big things to talk about, I'm not married. I don't have anybody in my life. My best friend is the first person I call. And I say, hey, what do you think about this? And not that you replace a spouse or anything. If I had a spouse, it'd be different, but I do value your input. And then based on your input and my own intuition, and I talk to a few other people, then I make decisions, but it's like very small. How easy would it be for me to throw it out there?
Yeah.
The whole world on all my platforms or whatever. What do you think? And I'm going to get every opinion under the sun. Don't do that to yourself. I think keeping it limited to just the people that you trust, the sources of information helping you make this decision that you trust. Because if you just randomly Google the information, or you just randomly talk to anybody and everybody about whatever the decision is, that's going to lead you to paralysis by analysis. And I don't think that serves you well at all. So be discerning about who you allow in on this decision.
I agree. I think, 2 to 3 people in your life that you trust. And if you're the kind of person that has to call 8 people to involve them in on your decision making, you need to do some personal development on yourself. Now, it would be so, in my perfect world, I would involve nobody in a decision. I would just make my own decision without having to involve anybody else. But because of other factors, now if it's a decision that affects both me and Wildman, obviously I'm going to involve them. But if
Yeah.
it's just something that I can decide on my own, I like to do it on my own. But recently, for example, like I have been wanting to take one step deeper and becoming Brittany Lee more. I've wanted to pursue more. I want to write our second book. I have another project that I'm working on and another one. Like I have so many things that I want to work on, but I have paralyzed myself in, well, I can't do that because I have to do this. And if I do that, then I'm taking away from my kids and all that. That's my mom, by the way. I ain't even gonna hide it. That's my mom in my mind of, if you do that, then your kids will suffer. And some of society too. And so I involved Jimmy in this because Jimmy is part of OSD and part of my work. And I told him when I was after, and I talked to Wildman and said, all right, I need more time. I need set aside scheduled time where I can dedicate to this. And I have to stop procrastinating. I have to stop living in paralysis of making shit happen in my life.
And making yourself feel bad that you have this dream that you want to be more than what you are. And look, it's not new. You just implemented kind of this new schedule that you're doing that does allocate that time and partition off when you homeschool your kids. And all. It's beautiful what you've come up with. But you've been talking about this with me for over a year. That, I need more time and I want to do more projects, and I'm trying to figure out where do I carve. And I always thought, and because you didn't ask, I didn't give
Right.
input. But if you'd
Thank
ask,
you.
hey, yeah, I respect you enough. I don't give opinions where they're not asked about, because I get it all the time online. Just happened the other day. Somebody said, you make crap videos. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you letting me know. You must watch the crap videos because you're still here.
See this stuff right here? This is the kind of thing I deal with day after day after day. And so SPLITG1, you think I do spaz videos? And that they're getting a little redundant? Sorry, bruh. This is what Jimmy wants to do. And I don't really care what your opinion is about what I do. This is something you need to learn. Your opinion does not matter on my page. Not a damn bit. So this comment here, highly inappropriate. And you, highly irrelevant. Get the off my page.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So, but you've had this decision to make for a little while, and you finally got to the point where, hey, schedule. Morning time is business Brittany. Afternoon time is mommy and housewife Brittany. And got these very distinctiveness, and it's beautiful. By the way, let me ask you, because you were paralysis analysis for a while on this decision. What was it that got you to make a decision? It's a big decision. What you made is balancing that work and family life. How did you get to now? And it's fresh, I know. It's not like tried and true and everything. But how did you get to this point where you're comfortable with the decision that you've made?
I think it wasn't just this area. I've had a couple of very, very big areas in my life where I have lived in this indecision. And so because there was one area where I made a big decision that I haven't shared publicly, and it will probably be a while before I talk about it. I made a huge decision in my life. And yesterday makes 1 month since I made that decision. And it's it's this snowball effect of, I finally just did it. And so
yes,
the same thing.
That was another area you were very paralyzed in.
Yes.
Because you felt so much fear. I'm trying to dance gingerly around it. You've had so much fear about this particular issue that you didn't know what to do. So you really were in flux of paralysis by analysis of, well, if I do this, it's too much. If I do this, it's not enough. And so you did have that. So that's interesting what you're saying here. Let me just piggyback on the point you're making. You made this decision a month ago for this other really big decision. And once you make a big decision like that, guess what? Other big decisions don't really seem so hard.
I'm trying not to get emotional because it really is the truth. I saw the monumental changes that happened. And listen, it ain't been all sunshines and rainbows, okay? It's been a little bit of a nightmare. Not a nightmare. A little bit. But
challenging.
Yes, it's been challenging, but it's been so worth it. And so I literally stayed in paralysis for 15 years on and off about something, and for it to just like boom, it was a moment. It was a friend. It was a friend in a coffee shop, and she made a comment, and it had nothing to do with anything, and she said it, and something just like sparked in my brain of, I have to fix this. And so I don't know what the moment was with making this decision to move forward with this, other than it's more like I've done this area. I made this big decision. I have to make a decision here. I have to move forward. Am I going to continue with OSD and the podcast and journals and all the ands? Or am I going to be mom? And there's nothing wrong with being just mom. I think it is incredible for the women who dedicate their life and who are mom and there for their kids all day long. Being a stay-at-home mom is brutal, guys. Okay, it's very brutal. But being a working mom is also brutal. Being a stay-at-home working mom is also brutal. It's all brutal, and it all comes with incredible decisions and huge life-altering decisions that you have to make. And I just realized I am the one complicating this. It's not that complicated to say, okay, I'm going to work from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's not that complicated, and dedicating that time. And so all of these decisions that we get into paralysis over, like you said earlier, bring it to the simplicity. Stop overthinking it. And yes, it is good to consider all the factors. And listen, my schedule, you guys would laugh at me if you saw the schedule, because I've got the Davis schedule, I got the homeschool schedule, I got the chore schedule, and it's all color coded. So like I can say, Alma Grace, it's green day, and she can go to the green day, find her name and her chores. I am still very much a perfectionist, and everything has to match. I am still that way.
Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with that. And Miss Alma Grace this morning needed to unload the top part of the dishwasher and feed the dog, I believe was the other chore, so she could get her device. And she was like, but I want my device. Okay, this is what you need to do. And so you got the boundaries, and it's an easy decision for her. She doesn't need to be paralyzed by that decision.
And I've tried to, you know what, now that you say that, indirectly, I've tried to do that with my children. That when they get overwhelmed, they're kids, they're overwhelmed by making a decision of what TV show to watch, which, by the way, I do too. I'm just like, I can't make a decision. I'm just going to watch Friends.
It's the Netflix effect. There's too many options.
Really?
And I know they have Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max. They got all of it. Yeah, I know. And so when you got all, and I've got none of it. I've got Amazon Video because it comes with my Amazon Prime. That's all I have. And so, all right, what's on Amazon? Okay, it's a lot of crap stuff, so I can just go the good stuff. It's easy decisions to make. And I haven't even watched anything in forever. But yeah, I think our society has fed into this quite a bit, Brittany, by giving us so many options. I mean, look at Amazon. Look at Walmart. You go into some of these stores, or your new favorite store, Hobby Lobby, where you got all the little crafts and things that jewelry stuff from. There's a lot to kind of filter through. You can literally be in there for hours trying to make a decision. Okay, do I want the beads, or do I want what do I need? What color do I get? All the decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, you think about walking into the grocery store. We were talking about this earlier. There are millions of products in the grocery store, and you, the consumer, have to go through and read labels or read price tags or compare. What?
I said, if you're smart about it, yes.
Yes. And you have to compare, okay, this is the value brand versus this one. How much cheaper is this one for this one? You have to do all of these quick, like, analysis while you're in the grocery store. It's overwhelming. And then you got the fluorescent lights. It's just beaming on your eyeballs. And you're just like, I can hear the lights. I need to get out of here. I don't know if that's anybody else. I get so overwhelmed by those lights.
I have literally never heard lights in the grocery store. That I know what you're talking about. They make like a slight little buzz kind of sound, but wow, that's some kind of sensitivity you have there.
It is so difficult to go shop. I miss the days of 12 p.m., like 12 a.m. shopping with Wild Man when there's nobody there. It's completely empty, dark, nobody's on I miss those days so much. I really do.
Open at midnight anymore?
No, ours closes at 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I was trying to take away the overwhelming of people.
Yes.
And I just less decisions, less overwhelmed, just pull it back. And that's what I was trying to do. So yeah, this one was close to heart, I know, for me, because I have lived in paralysis for so long with so many decisions, and it feels good to finally start making decisions. And maybe for those that are listening, start with something small. Start with a small, quick decision, and then another small, quick decision, another small, quick decision, and then a large, quick decision. Like, just make the decision, making the decision and deciding this is what I'm going to do. Don't be wishy-washy either. Don't go, well, I'm going to kind of sort it. No, you made the decision, like Jimmy said. You make it, you stick with it, you do it. That's what you're going to do. I'm going to do XYZ, and you do XYZ until XYZ does not work. And that doesn't mean 24 hours.
And give yourself permission for that decision to be horrible. Like, I have had to make a lot of decisions in my business, and I've been at this almost 2 decades. You're gonna make mistakes. I mean, I've made some whoppers of mistakes, and I talk about them very publicly all throughout my work. And you could look at that and say, oh, what a horrible decision. No, it was the decision that I made that I thought was most prudent at the time, even though I bore my best friend and she yawns at me live on the air. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. I saw the... But I've made a lot of those kinds of decisions that did not work out. But do you remember those? Maybe. But do you remember the ones that really worked out? Yeah. When I decided I want to test ketosis for a year. I had no idea when I started pricking my finger every day that there was going to be all this interest in that then would become a book that I would become famous for. I had no idea. But it was a decision of, hey, I'm kind of like stuck. I've been doing low carb for a little while. I need to try something new and just see how it goes. And it went wonderfully. And to this day, I still have reverberations of that success that happened with me making the decision to test ketosis and really kind of get into it. And I'm doing it now with the ice baths. Same thing. Like that getting into an ice bath every day is not fun, but I made the decision I was going to do that. And there's like interest from there. So, I mean, those are just business examples, but we all have these decisions that we make. But I like the Friends example. So who'd you say? Phoebe? Yeah. So sorry, I don't know any Friends references other than I kind of know the names. So the Phoebe model of little decision, big decision, and you're going to make the right decision.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Man, you clapped your hands and it was just like poof, Brittany's brain just gone out of the world.
Clap it back.
Oh, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, clap back.
That worked.
Abracadabra.
So a couple of years ago, you were talking about just, business decisions. I made the huge decision. I talk about that in my personal, like I've talked about it several times, that a few years ago, I was just like, I'm done with analyzing everything. I'm throwing it all out. I'm starting over. I'm just starting over. It was too much 4 years ago that I did that. And man, it was the best decision I ever made. And I know it's not for everybody because it can also be overwhelming to just start from scratch. But it was the best decision that I've ever made. And every single day that I make more decisions that align with who I am at my core and align with my 3 core values, man, I've just stepped into who I am, and it's unshakable.
You took away the analysis. You're just like, screw it all. And you got rid of it all. Now, the analysis and decisions came back into play when you tried to figure out, okay, all that's out. Now what? Now who am I? What decision? Okay. All these different ones. And the hardest one you said was religion. It came to that one. And you kind of struggled with that one for a bit. And now you're still on a journey, I'm going to say, with that one, trying to figure out exactly who you are. You've got different bits of it. But it's beautiful. Like, you took away all the needs for big decisions, because the big decision was them throwing it all out. And I don't know that I could have done that. I've piecemealed parts of mine one at a time. I've done like the elimination diet version of what you did. I took one whole thing, threw that out, and kind of went, okay, what am I? Okay, let's add back in what I am. Okay, now let's go over to this one. I didn't throw it all out all at the same time. I don't know if I could have handled that. You're a stronger person than I am.
Just a different way to go about it. But it was too much. I had looked at all the people in my life who were in my circle, and there were people in my circle who were there because of their title in my life, not because of they meant it, not because they meant well by me, but just because of their title. And like slowly, one by one, I've had to remove those people. And there's a lot of misunderstanding that happens there when someone holds a title in your life, like, family member. When you remove them from your close circle, sometimes you remove them altogether because that's what's necessary. That's a decision that I grappled with. Like, that's one that I did stay paralyzed with. There are certain things, a long time ago, several years ago, someone had come in my yard, and up until that point, I only knew what I knew about this person. And then this person said a racist slur, and I was like, no, bye. And I have never spoken to him again, because there are certain things that once you cross the line, I do not care. I don't care if you're sorry. I don't care. No, you're no longer in my circle. I don't know you. You don't know me. We're done. There's a couple of those things where I will just.
Yeah. Hey, let me defend an aspect of the paralysis just for a moment. Sometimes it's great that you're cautious and that you have a little bit of time. So I don't want people to be left with the impression and watching this podcast that, you should make a quick decision. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
You want to do your due diligence, because I remember circa a year ago, you and I were having discussions about a certain family member that you were considering cutting off.
Yes.
And now that family member is very much in your life in a great way. But had you made a rash, quick decision rather than having a little bit of analysis, you were stuck between rash and paralysis over analysis. That's where you were. You were really stuck because you kept asking me, what should I do? Well, if this is what's happening and this is what maybe you need to consider, and okay, but have you talked to him? And I was trying to like lay it out and I was totally on your side. But I was like, how can I not be a contributing factor to her making a rash decision? Because I didn't know what to think about the situation, because you were always distraught about it every time we talked. And so my heart was, hey, you kind of have to figure this out, because at that point I'll support you, whatever your decision, but I couldn't really be a part of that. And I'm glad that you were a little bit paralyzed for, 9 months, that you didn't really make a decision about this. And then suddenly it worked out. Had you made a decision, I think you would have regretted it today.
Yeah, and I'm glad, and I think because I grappled with that decision for so long, I knew that there was something deeper that I hadn't uncovered, and I ended up going because I've cut off family members so fast, and I thought nothing of it. Maybe that makes me sound heartless, but it's because they showed me who they are enough times that I didn't need any more analysis. I knew who they were. I knew how they were going to act. I knew how they treated me. But this one decision that you're talking about, and that was, what to do with my dad situation. I've talked about it on the podcast. I struggled so much because it didn't make sense that sometimes this was our relationship, and then sometimes it was like this. And then I come to realize that other people's opinions had come into this, and their opinions of my dad played in my head. their thoughts, their processes, their conclusions of who he is clouded my brain. And so when he did something that was really small, very small, what happened, it became this big thing because now I've got everybody else's opinions in my mind giving me a perception of the situation. And I did, right, you're taking up for the analysis. I had to analyze, where is this coming from? Do I actually feel this way? Is this somebody else? I had to do that. And so a little bit of it is a good thing.
And in your case, you didn't have all the information. Some of the information you were using to analyze this decision was incorrect. And the only way you got to the correct was when you faced your dad and you said, hey, what about this? And he's like, nah, that's not what happened. Let me tell you what really happened. And think about it. Like I cut off my dad 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, and haven't talked to him at all. Hadn't really seen or heard anything about him other than I know he was in the hospital like 6 months ago for something because my sister-in-law posted on Facebook. That's all I know about what's happened with my dad the last 2 years. And even after you make a decision like that, it's not an analysis. It's not really being paralyzed, but it's kind of that curiosity of, did I make the right choice? You're going to have those kind of regret thoughts pop in. I know it was the right choice just because of what you were just saying. I know how specific people are going to react. I know how this guy's going to react. And I often like think about, do I need to give him another chance? I made the decision. And so I'm kind of paralyzed about what to do now because I made a resolute decision, but I also still have an empathetic heart, and he's not going to be around much longer. He's going to die within the next few years. Do I want to live with that for the rest of my life? So yeah, there's so many things that go into these decisions that we make.
Yeah, and it can all be incredibly overwhelming. But I think the fact that you and I have grappled with decisions like that not necessarily speaks to the character of the other person, but speaks to our character and who we are. And we're give second chance and third chance and 47th chance kind of people because we just genuinely care. And I genuinely care about other humans who go through analysis paralysis, other humans who listen to the podcast. I just care. And I have so much kindness in my heart for other people that a lot of that gets brought into my own analysis paralysis. Is, am I being kind? Am I moving forward? And it gets tough. It gets hard when you think about the complexity that is this subject.
Well, and the overwhelm that comes in is a lot of times the emotional aspect of things.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking of it just from an intellectual standpoint and knowledge standpoint, it's not near as hard of a decision. You're not nearly paralyzed so much if it's just an information thing. But where it gets monkey wrench thrown into it is your emotions get involved, or there's some memory that's evoked, or as you mentioned earlier, all this stuff goes back to childhood. It does. Like for the thing that you're working on 15 years ago, you were a kid and you were a teenager dealing with this thing. And so it's still reverberating all these years later, and you've made a decision and you're going through this process, and it's great, but we've got to give ourselves a lot of grace and a lot of love. I was just talking to somebody just before we came on the air and is dealing with a decision that she has to make. And that's what I told her. Give yourself a lot of love and grace because it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. Because she's made a decision that she's just like, ooh, and I'm just like, I promise you, it's gonna be worth it. And it's hard in the moment because it feels so heavy. It feels like, oh my gosh, if I do the wrong decision in this, my life's over. Your life's not over. Your life may shift for the good or the bad, but it's not over. Let's not over dramatize it a bit.
Yes, just like this buffalo back here. Sometimes you literally just have to turn around and face the storm. You literally just have to walk through it. You just have to make the decision and take what comes after.
Yeah. So guys, here in episode 62, overwhelming decisions, but even the little ones, can lead to analysis paralysis, but hopefully you now realize, hey, that's up to you. And you can mitigate a lot of that with the things that we talked about here today. Keep your circle small, keep your information sources small, and focus on the simple aspects of it. And if you do that, then it makes the decisions a lot easier. And make a decision with the willingness and knowledge that it very well could be the wrong decision. But you do it confidently. And if you mess up, you'll learn from that. And that helps you make a better decision the next time.
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Brittany. Oh, my dear.
All right. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website. All the episodes are there and the descriptions to all of those. Find whatever it is that you're looking for. We are 62 episodes in, guys. There is so much to catch up on if you haven't listened to us from day one. And I just want to pause. Since the guys who've been here, the ladies and gentlemen and all the people who have been here since day one, I love you. Thank you for your dedication. Big things for you guys coming. I cannot wait. All right. YouTube, 4 p.m. on Sundays, Eastern Standard Time. That's the first place you can find the full-length podcast. I do post the tidbits, little 15-minute taste over on my Instagram, becoming.brittany.lee. And then Jimmy also puts up the tidbit over at Living Low Carb Man. I started putting those up on Friday. So that'll be the first place that you can see any part of the episodes are now Friday over on our Instagram. We do put up the full length over on Instagram, One Step Deeper Podcast there. It goes up on Facebook as well. Again, One Step Deeper Podcast. You can find it wherever you type that in. We are audio podcasts. That goes up on Monday. And so Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, ALEXA. And if you're over on Apple, leave us a review. And if you're over on Spotify, leave us some stars. We love you guys.
Yes, yes. And One Step Deeper Journal, the foundation's still coming. I know I sound like a broken record, but I promise you, it is a real book. I do promise you, it's a real book. Feels like a million years ago that we finished the book, but this is part of the process. Just bear with us. And again, follow us over on Instagram. And yeah, I promise you, the day we know it's available, Brittany and I will not shut up about it. In fact, I'm already getting requests to be on podcasts. They're like, as soon as you know your book's available, you're on the show. And I'm like, okay, great. So I'm trying to help get Brittany on a lot of those shows as well. So you're going to see us everywhere soon, hopefully. So besides OSD, we like to hang out here. This is our peeps. You guys are our family, and we appreciate you being here.
Yep.
So guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
OneStepDeeperPodcast.com. Have you experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active, or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.